Hello, folks. Welcome to Business Spotlight. Victor Kiam, the owner of Remington, famously said once, "I liked the product so much, I bought the company." My guest today did exactly that. I'm joined by the absolutely fantastic Alex Dovey. It's brilliant to see you. Thanks for joining, Alex.
Hi, no problems. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. And what a great phrase. Absolutely sums you up. You liked it so much, you bought the company. Why don't we dive straight in, Alex?
Sure.
Tell us that story. How did you come about taking over the
I
business?
started with professional energy services in a capacity of sort of like a consultative salesman as a business development manager back in around about 2010. And I was selling energy consulting products for the business. And at the time, it's always been an extremely competitive market. I was finding, although I was finding success in that role, I wasn't sure how the longevity of the overall strategy of the business was looking. Loved the business, loved the products, so I left. um, I worked on at a big four consultant, and then came back in the capacity as a general manager to run it, the UK side of things from there. Long story short, after many years of running the business and a close relationship with the ownership, it became a time where we naturally progressed into discussions of the future, and it only made sense to go and buy the business.
And so many people have that thought, right? I think it's even written in the book E-Myth that so many people work in a business and they think that they can do it better. And most people leave to go and set up on their own. You did the other thing. The more logical thing was you bought the business, which is absolutely fantastic. Why don't you tell me? I'm sure you faced a few challenges along the way. What were the biggest challenges that you faced as you took the business over, and how did you overcome those
I
challenges?
think the biggest challenge to take the business owner was take the business ownership was to make the step from being an employee and an employee mindset to thinking from more of an ownership and entrepreneurial mentality. Having
Mm,
always worked for medium to large businesses in the past, and this being a relatively small business, it took a totally
mm.
different sort of outlook to achieve that. But I think one of the main aspects that made it helpful was because we had such a good relationship with the ownership structure. Going into competition didn't feel right. So the only natural and right thing to do would be to somehow find the money and pay the market value for the company.
The great thing about buying a business is that it comes normally with an established customer base, so you're up and running quickly. How did you, of course, then you then had to grow that customer base, right? So
Yeah.
how did you go about growing that customer base, maintaining the clients that you've got, and making sure that your brand was well established in the market?
It took a lot of different attempts. There was a lot of trial and error. And with the existing client base, that was always focusing on service delivery and focusing on delivering for the client. That was always helping us remain entrenched with our clients, but also gave us a natural element of growth through referral, through natural churn of those clients. And as people moved on within their own careers, we were able to follow them. Um, and from a sort of from a development point of view and from how we marketed ourselves, we went through many different stages, from the historic cold calling to direct marketing, and then really having a pivotal point where we decided to do away with the traditional methods of marketing and actually count on our own good work and market that properly through SEO and through online digital strategies.
And technology is an important point of differentiation for you in your business, isn't it? Because it enables you to have a lot more, or proprietary technology gives you a lot more flexibility with your customer offers. How do you foster that culture of innovation and creativity within the company?
Well, actually, we have our clients to thank for that. So we're all forever brainstorming of what we could do better to deliver for our clients, but we find that our clients know what they need better than we know what they need. So we listen to them. They can turn around to us and say, "Okay, look, we really like what you're delivering for us. What would be really good is if you could present the information in such a way that we could do A, B, and C, and that would." Benefits us for this reason, then we can go away and code it, obviously within reason. We can't build rockets or anything, but when it comes to being flexible enough to deliver with clients, we can confidently say, okay, we'll start a client journey. Our average client journey is about 10 years, and we know that the product they'll be receiving from day one
Mm.
till even midway through the contract will be extremely different from where they've started.
So it's very much then about being very, very close to your customers, understanding what their needs are and adapting and monitoring them and responding to them. That's fantastic. Was there a pivotal moment in the business, a moment or a decision that you took that significantly impacted on the growth of the business since you've had the ownership?
Yes, it was to take a step back actually from um, always chasing the growth figures and always going through a direct marketing point of view,
Mm.
whether that be cold calling or field sales. Actually taking a step back and letting our work sell itself. That
Mm.
was a real pivotal moment. We realized that our growth came from predominantly referrals, and that sometimes being a bit brash with the marketing strategies or outreach was doing us more harm than good.
Mm.
So it really, the pivotal moment was letting our work do the selling rather than going out there and directly selling.
So a real switch, and actually, it's something I see a lot in other businesses. Kind of having a combination and switching from hunter marketing to farmer marketing, and maybe having a balance of both. Most businesses have one or the other, and having a balance of both is a great way forward. Fantastic. What about failure and setbacks? There must have been some along the way, Alex. How do you fail? How do you handle failure and setbacks, and what lessons have you learned?
Handling failure is a probably something I still need to read many more books on. Because I certainly could do better at it. Obviously, no one likes failure, but we've had plenty of setbacks and plenty of failures along the way. Of course, we have. And the what I've learned most recently is that um, sometimes you need to lose. You might need to lose a couple of clients to actually grow as a business.
Mm.
And so, what I learned from some of the smaller failures with a smaller end of our client base is that sometimes you don't know what's limiting you until it's gone. So, I think the outlook on what can appear to be a failure at the start is not always as clear cut as it actually being a failure. It can be a bit of a
Mm.
blessing in disguise at times. The main takeaway from that was actually not to focus, get tunnel vision in these situations and take a step back.
You're a very busy business owner. You're also a busy husband, and your wife helps you to run the company. And you're also a busy dad. How on earth do you maintain some kind of meaningful work-life balance? And what strategies do you use to make sure that you're avoiding
A
burnout?
very good question. I think you hit the nail on the head. So I run the business with my wife. So quite often the lines between business and personal are very much blurred.
Mm.
We'll find out that by accident over the breakfast table we've already had an hour and a half management review meeting just by making the toast and coffee. I think balancing work and personal is really difficult, especially as a parent, and especially these days when schools have a lot going on. There's a lot that's required of you as a parent to go in during the day. I count myself lucky to be in a position where I can be flexible with that, but you can never make all those appointments. The key word is compromise and understand that you are going to fail in one area or another, or not quite spend enough time in work or personal, but just understand that and observe
And
it.
you mentioned earlier about switching from hunter strategies to farming strategies. Can you tell me a little bit more about the marketing and growth strategies and what's working well for you and your business right now?
The real sort of eureka moment was when we started to really set aside an online marketing budget and understand that the internet is this great tool that really can be totally underutilized. And we realized that our website was more of a shop window but not really a transactional tool.
Mm.
We realized that we did little to no advertising, that our brand wasn't particularly known amongst outside of our client circle. Once we switched our efforts, and it really took the pandemic to switch our efforts, because
Mm.
you try having a team of cold callers phoning empty offices,
Mm.
it doesn't work. The conversion rate dropped off a cliff.
Mm.
And rather than have a team of people that are going to be disenfranchised with what was technically an impossible task at the time, and making people feel bad. It was more a case of, okay, well, let's adapt. So we stopped cold calling, we stopped all of that direct marketing immediately, because it was just an overhead at that point.
Mm. Mm.
And then once we switched to SEO strategies and content marketing, not only were we getting inquiries at a better rate than any of our outbound efforts were, the quality of inquiry was much better than a lot of leads we were generating from outbound. So
Mm.
that really was that was the point when we had a moment where, like, yeah, we've got a long-term future in this.
You said that your average client retention is 10 years. Can you tell me a little bit about the importance and how you go about building strong, lasting relationships in the business?
It's about transparency and trust, and just ensuring that we're delivering on what we say we're going to deliver.
Mm,
We can get a bit of criticism for sometimes maybe not drawing the lines with that with our clients sometimes, but I'd rather that be the criticism than the other way around. So
mm,
basically, by fostering a relationship and a an area of trust, then our clients are happy to stay with us. And our whole business model is built around retention. We wouldn't survive if we had a sort of sausage machine in one end out the other.
mm,
We wouldn't survive because we don't get the amount of business in required to
mm,
do so, nor are we interested in running a business of that sort of
mm.
mentality.
The global energy market is incredibly dynamic, or you might say unstable right now. So it's a very fast-paced, fast-changing environment for you. How do you stay up to date with the latest trends and technologies and ensuring that you're maintaining competitive?
So it's obviously quite difficult, as you quite said, with working in an ever-changing market where there's a wholesale price to look at. It's changing on a minute-by-minute basis. The way that we stay in contact or up to date is by managing, having a foothold in a lot of these global markets. So we're managing US markets, we're managing European markets, we're over in Asia Pacific area at the moment doing some project work there. Um, uh, so a lot of the people on the ground are reporting back and keeping us informed, but we also have significant data feeds. We invest a lot of money in information services from the big information companies to keep us abreast of what's going on. And obviously, there's the industry networking events that we like to attend, but predominantly the vast majority of our information comes through investing in high cost information feeds.
Alex, you've had a fantastic success story, and hindsight is a wonderful thing. If you were to kind of reflect back over the journey, what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
Probably to be a little less cautious, um, and the first time you ever get that entrepreneurial thought, follow it first time round. Don't sit on
Mm,
it. Um,
mm.
Not that I regret any of the work that I've done or places I've worked. I've met some brilliant people who have given me amazing insight into the world of business. But I would just tell myself, do it. You'll learn your way.
What a great story. Congratulations, Alex. It's been fantastic to have you on.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
Folks, if you'd like to come and join us on Business Spotlight and tell your story like Alex has just done, we'd love to have you on. Just click apply below on this post and we'll be in contact. Until then, bye for now.